Hello, everybody. All right. So with that, all right. Waiting for a few minutes for people to show up. So hope everybody's having has had a good week thus far. Gonna go off camera for for a moment. Take care of some things while I'm gone. I'll put some music on as we wait for more people to pop in. When I get back, of course, we'll talk about what's on tap for tonight. So, anyways, let's do this. All right. So, anyways, let's take care of one more thing here real quick. Then we will. Couple things, really. Happy June 1st, by the way, as we are now, into of course now into of course now into June. We're about 3 weeks away from the official start of summer, even though many people would argue that summer has already begun with the Memorial Day holiday last week or earlier this week. So everybody's already talking about what they're going to be doing over their summer break. Into the beaches, getting some sun, swimming in the ocean, maybe going out boating, fishing, all that nice outdoorsy stuff, right? Okay. So, anyways, got a couple people on here. Let's do one more quick thing, and then I will go ahead and go over what's on tap for tonight. Let me see. Yeah. All right. So let's see. All right. Well. All right. Well, anyways, we do have at least a couple people here, so we'll go ahead and talk about what's on tap for tonight. So, of course, we do have a couple articles I'm going to go over from Bounding into Comics. A couple of interesting ones, more along the lines of cartoon news than anything else. Cartoon news, or at least some connections to cartoons. Um, so what of course, the two stories we're going to go over. Again, the voice actor is not dark enough to play a character shtick. Marvel gets accused of racism, saying that the actor who's cast to voice Sunspot, Guy Agostini, is apparently too light skinned to voice Sunspot, who happens to be, of course, a Latino South American character. The other article we're going to be going over from Bounding into Comics tonight, Eddie Murphy is reportedly in negotiations to star as a race-swapped Inspector Clouseau in the upcoming Pink Panther reboot. So we're going to be looking at that too. So I don't know if that might be a live movie. I'm not sure, but Pink Panther is kind of a cartoon character. I just figured it's probably what it was. So, plus, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up. We'll get caught up on all the latest wrestling news, happenings, of course, in WWE, AEW, and of course NWA. We'll talk one last time about what's going to be going on, for this weekend at this weekend's Crockett Cup. Some aside from the tournament, of course, the tag tournament, we got some other news, some other matches to talk about as well. For that, and then wrapping things up with this day in each history. So with that, let's see, we're now just past 5.5 minute mark, getting ready to move on to 6 minutes. So why don't we go ahead and get started with articles then? Um, this. Yeah. All right. Anyways. All right. So, in the first article we're going to go over tonight here, and of course, a couple of things. One, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here in the chat and all that. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll do the best I can to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, with all that being said, let's get to this first article. Marvel accused of racism as critics allegedly cast actor Guy Augustini is too light skinned to voice Sunspot in X-Men 97. Now, X-Men, just a reminder, X-Men 97 is kind of a continuation of the X-Men, the animated series from the 90s, that ran from 92 to 97. Those 5 years there. And Sunspot is, as I understand from the comics, is a character of South American origin. He's Latino. So let's see. Article by Spencer McCulley, published May 30th, which was a couple days ago. All right. In the latest example of the identity let me just make sure Spencer McCulley was the one who wrote this article. In the latest example of the identity politics obsessed will never be satisfied, in small quotes here, despite their reported casting of Guy Augustini as the ethnically similar Roberto Sunspot da Costa in the upcoming X-Men 97 animated series, showing an obvious commitment to, in smaller quotes, inclusive casting. Marvel Studios has been accused of racism and whitewashing by a large swath of fans who believe the Brazilian voice actor is too light-skinned to properly portray the South American mutant. Now, mind you, we had the same issue we talked about, was it a month ago, with the Lilo and Stitch live action, where it wasn't just one actor there, it was two actors there, where they were saying that they were getting too upset that the characters were too light toned, light skinned to portray the actor, which is again ridiculous. And while the Disney subsidiary has been relatively light on official details regarding the fan favorite X-Team's return to the small screen, fans got their first glimpse at the series' alleged casting courtesy of a recent filing made by Marvel with the U.S. Copyright Office on behalf of the series' very first episode. X-Men 97, episode 101. So, dude. Main voice cast include Ray Chase as Cyclops, Jennifer Hale as Jean, Lenore Zahn as Rogue, George Booth as Beast. So they didn't bring back Norm Spencer or Catherine Disher. Jubilee, we heard about that. Allison Court decided to relinquish the role for Britain as Mr. Senator. Allison held on. AJ LaCasso's Gambit, who is replacing Chris Potter. Matthew Waterton as Magneto, replacing Christopher Judge. So, all right. As initially brought to public attention by Twitter user at Scarlet Witch upped, the filing in question reveals that the Merry Band of Mutants voice cast will include Ray Chase, who previously portrayed Noctis Lucius Callum in Final Fantasy 15 franchise as Cyclops, replacing the late Norm Spencer passed away. That's why they had to replace him. Jennifer Hale as female Jennifer Hale, who is known for Jennifer Hale is known for a number of things, including of course Felicia Hardy in Spider-Man, but in this case, the female Commander Shepard in Mass Effect trilogy as Jean Grey, replacing Catherine Disher. Now, Catherine Disher, as far as I know, is still alive, so I don't know why they would have replaced her. Not that Jennifer Hale's a bad actress, mind you, but that's kind of begs the question. Lenore Zahn, who is role Roll.exe in Mega Man NT Warrior as Rogue, reprising her. A number of these guys are reprising their roles. George Booza, who's also reprising his role as Beast, who has also provided the voice of Grandpa Granger in Beyblade. Holly Chow as Jubilee, who also did April Braxton in Players, replacing Allison Court. Now, this one, of course, we all know because we talked a lot about this before when they were talking about this. Allison Court made a huge thing about. Well, I think that since Jubilation Lee is Chinese American or whatever, it should go to a Chinese or Asian actor. So I'm going to give up my roles. I give up the money that I made from that role, so somebody else come in and do it. Christopher Britton, as Mr. Spencer, reprised again. Another guy, and a few more of these are reprising their roles. Among the other roles that Christopher Britton is known for include Soichiro Yagami and Death Note. Alison Seeley Smith reprising her role as Storm from the original series. She also provided the voice of Rana Valona in The Oblique. Cal Dodd, who's reprising his role as Wolverine from the original series, who also did the voice of Ron Rapid Fire and Paw Patrol Ready Race Rescue. Replacing Tony, I guess Tony Daniels is the last, but Chris Potter, Tony Daniels replaced Chris Potter. Replacing Chris Daniels in the role of Gambit is AJ Locasico, who provided the voice of Prince Lotor and Voltron Legendary Defender. Matthew Watterson replaces the late David Hemblin as Magneto. Let's see. And then he voiced Doomslayer and Doom Eternal. And finally, Augustini as newcomer Sunspot, who also did the voice of Carmelo in 1111 En Mi Quadra Nada Quadra. In parentheses here, it should be noted that as per showrunner Bo DeMaio, the synopsis listed on the U.S. Copyright Office's website as, quote, not an official synopsis for the show, unquote. Which means more replacements could be coming. Here's a scene from the Phoenix Saga. If anybody's saying anything here. Not yet, okay. And if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share this stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and hopefully, and I'll do the best I can to try to answer the questions as to the best of my ability. So, anyways. All right, so continuing on with the article here. Let me see what. 1428. Okay. Continuing with the article here. First introduced in Marvel graphic novel number 4, volume 1, number 4, DaCosta began life as a mutant hero when his powers to channel solar energy manifested in response to his being attacked by a group of Brazilian children who assaulted him for his darker skin color. After finding himself in the sights of the Hellfire Club's Donald Pierce and his thirst for mutant blood, DaCosta was eventually saved from being outright murdered thanks to the swift intervention of Professor Xavier. Offered a place at the esteemed mutant school for gifted youngsters, DaCosta soon and famously became a member of the de facto group of fresh recruits known as the New Mutants, who were also depicted in the X-Men Evolution cartoon of the early 2000s. As with most teenagers, DaCosta would, at least to an extent, eventually grow out of his original hot-headed personality and over time find himself fulfilling ever more important roles across a larger Marvel universe, including serving as both leader of the American government-sanctioned U.S. Avengers and the supreme leader of AIM. While most of the aforementioned supposed cast reveals came and went with little controversy, Augustini's role as Sunspot caught the attention of the internet outrage machine, who responded to the announcement by not only degrading or disregarding Marvel's efforts to preemptively appease them by casting a Brazilian in the role of Marvel's most famous Brazuca, but also, and unsurprisingly, taking offense to the fact the voice actor was not as dark-skinned as his anime counterpart. That is kind of stupid. After them trying to do it, they're still not satisfied. That's why you don't give in to these people, because they're never going to be satisfied. Quote, Light just cancel the show, laugh out loud, unquote, wrote Chichala Fett. Quote, next thing they'll announce a white guy is voicing Bishop. Well, as I recall, the guy who voiced Bishop was Philip Aiken. Now, he was black. He was a lighter shade of black, I think, but I guess that's the guy who's voicing Sunspot in this new X-Men cartoon. Oh, this is literally Afro-Latino erasure, unquote, bleeded at Blurred 807. By the way, this is like a white actor voicing T'Challa, declared at Angry Cohen. Yeah, this is why you don't give in to these people, because they're never going to be satisfied. The guy is Brazilian; he's just not dark enough um to voice him. I mean, really, it's kind of ridiculous. Quote, I don't mind a certain level of blind voice casting if the diversity behind the scenes is overall diverse. But a character, I, I believe somebody had a typo there. But a character, I guess that's supposed to be like Sunspot, whose origin involved racial discrimination and is constantly whitewashed, sheepishly put forth at Evan Reed's comics. Quote, I think we should have gone Afro Latino this time, unquote. Quote, why is he white though? Unquote, questioned Kalu Um, well, I mean, there are white Brazilians, people. Remember, it originally it is a Portuguese territory, or sorry, out of the Portuguese territory. Um, Quote, Sunspot is Afro-Brazilian, and part of his backstory is that he was literally hate crimed for being black. I refuse to believe you couldn't find one Afro-Brazilian to voice him Disney, unquote. Again, getting this upset over a voice. This is why you don't capitulate to them. Why you don't capitulate to them. Quote, why do we have to keep doing this? Exclaimed at Death the Dreamer. Quote, Sunspot is a black man. Yes, he is mixed, but he is visibly black. I thought we were overcasting white voice actors in black and brown roles. Quote, Roberto da Costa is an Afro-Brazilian, unquote, asserted at Black Home BA. Quote, heavy on the Afro. Just say y'all don't know the comics and go. Quote, this is why the Little Mermaid Cleopatra discourse was so tiring because Hollywood has been whitewashing characters of black descent for okay. How is the Little Mermaid argument in all? Granted, the Little Mermaid was originally portrayed as white. If anything, you blackwashed, darkwashed the Little Mermaid. So why you bring in the Little Mermaid into this? If anything, you're doing the reverse with the Little Mermaid. She was originally portrayed as a white character, and then you turned her black. So I don't even see where that really has any point in this. Said at Copsmith Core. Quote, but race swapping is now a problem when it's a white character being changed. Okay, using an Afro Brazilian voice is important. Unquote. This is an intentional choice to erase the blackness of the Kanan character accused at a Sclafone crown. Oh boy. Quote, this is the problem I have with race bending once again. Marvel Studios continues show a sketchy pattern regarding black male representation. Oh boy. So this, as of writing, neither Marvel Augustini nor anyone else involved with the production of X-Men 97 has offered a public comment on the backlash. However, given the company's recent habit of prostrating themselves before the mob, even in the slightest hint of controversy, it cannot be ignored that there exists a significant probability that Marvel may end up recasting Augustini in order to please those who do not realize the core point of voice acting. Mm-hmm. Per the above U.S. copyright filing, Sunspot is on track to flare onto Disney Plus alongside his fellow mutants in X-Men 97 on January 3rd, 2024. All right, so there we go, that one. Yeah, that whole thing is stupid, okay? Oh my god, voice actors have to be the same color as the character they voice. Oh my god. This whole kowtowing to the SJWs is stupid because they're never going to be satisfied. And kowtow them all they want, but they'll find something to, if you give an inch, they'll take a mile. If you give them a mile, they'll take a football field. You give them a football field, they'll take a stadium. If you give them a stadium, they'll take the Empire State Building. Um, Anyways, as we continue on with the, get ready to go on to the next article here that we'll be talking about here. It's another example of race swapping in entertainment. Eddie Murphy reportedly in negotiations to star as race swap Inspector Clouseau in upcoming Pink Panther reboot. Article by Spencer McCulley published yesterday. It looks like Inspector Clouseau will be the next classic character to undergo a race swap, as a new report suggests that veteran comedian Eddie Murphy is in talks to play the bumbling Inspector Clouseau in MGM's upcoming reboot of the classic Pink Panther franchise. Now, of course, the character was originally created by, was originally a part of the DePatie Frailing Studios work. The Dolomite is My Name star's alleged involvement was first reported on May 17th, about a couple weeks ago, courtesy of an exclusive from Hollywood Reporter. Per the news outlet, should he accept, Murphy's performance as the French lawman would be written by Bad Boys for Life screenplay scribe Chris Brenner and directed by the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog trilogy's Jeff Fowler. So, okay, as we heard, the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie did not do well, so this might. So I guess it's actually more of a live-action reboot, I guess, of the classic art. Actually, there was an older live-action movie way back when as well, so. with that. Additionally, the film will be produced by Dan Lin and Jonathan Elric, who did, of course, Netflix's Death Note, Godzilla vs. Kong, um, through their production company, Rideback, as well as Larry um, Murish, Amazon's upcoming The Magnificent Seven series. I believe Murish might be the son of, I think, Stan Murish, who was. I believe there's another guy named Murish who was involved with the Pink Panther. And the Sound of Music star Julie Andrews, whose late husband Blake Edwards was instrumental in the creation of the entire Pink Panther franchise. Mm-hmm. According to the Hollywood Reporter's sources, MGM's proposed The Pink Panther project will utilize a combination of both live action film and CG animation to see the real world Inspector Clouseau team up with the franchise's iconic feline mascot for the first time. So there's going to be a combo movie of a um, 2006 movie. Conceived by the aforementioned Edwards in the early 60s, the Pink Panther franchise centers not on its anthropomorphic cartoon mascot, who actually makes his only cinematic appearances in the animated and highly stylized opening and closing sequences of each respective film, but rather one Jacques Clouseau, an inspector under the employ of the French Soiret, and who was typically portrayed by Dr. Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb star Peter Sellers. So they're talking about the previous, with the 1963 film of the same name, MGM not only introduced the world to Clouseau, but also the titular Pink Panther Diamond, a tremendously valuable raw rose-colored gemstone, which takes its name from a panther-shaped imperfection at its center, and served as the central MacGuffin to 4 of the Inspector's original 11 adventures. And some of us know about the Pink Panther cartoon that was done by DePatie Frayling in the late 60s as well. All caught some of that, right? And if you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, also, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that, let's see. However, thanks to a waning interest in Inspector Clouseau after the premiere of the critically panned Son of the Pink Panther in 1993, the Edwards-led era of the franchise came to an end. Proceeding to lay dormant for roughly 13 years, the trio of Clouseau, the Jewel, and the animated mascot would make their return to the silver screen with 2006's The Pink Panther. Starring Steve Martin as the clumsy constable, this franchise reboot would garner a single sequel, 2009's aptly named The Pink Panther 2, before seeing the property shelved once again. Interestingly, should Murphy sign on for Fowler and Brenner's new The Pink Panther, It would mark the third time the actor led a race swap reboot of an original property. Previously, Murphy starred as both Professor Sherman in the 1996 version of The Nutty Professor, a role originally portrayed by Jerry Lewis in the 1963 original, and as a titular veterinarian in Fox's 1998 take on Dr. Dolittle. As of writing, the Pink Panther reboot has yet to confirm either Murphy's involvement or any sort of official release schedule. All right, so there we go with that one. So I'd say 36 minutes. So we've made some good time here. All right, so with that, let me just do something here real quick. All right, so anyways, um, so now we're like 36 minutes into this, so going on 37 minutes. So I think I'm going to move on to the wrestling wrap up. As you know, there's obviously some news coming out of WWE, AEW, and the NWA. In terms of WWE news, it was announced the other day that Alexa, I think I even mentioned this yesterday, that Alexa Bliss, it was recently announced that she was pregnant. That's why she was off TV. It's already talking about being ready for when she comes back to, so she's already talking about when she comes back. She's looking to be back maybe a month after she gives birth. Some people are saying that should bring her into coming into WrestleMania season, when sometime in January or February of next year. Um, Also, there's been some talk of Bray Wyatt coming back soon as the Fiend character, and as his portrayal prior to the illness that has kept him out recently. Has basically gone kind of slower than they thought it would. So there's been talk of that. So that's about all the WWE news we have for you. So now let's go on to AEW. So last night's Dynamite, while a lot of people thought it was kind of lukewarm mediocre, I myself, from what I saw of the matches and some of that, what I heard, I actually thought they did a pretty good job in terms of follow up to Double or Nothing. Granted, you didn't have MJF there, but in terms of moving things along a bit, they did seem to be doing things. So on last night's Dynamite, you saw see, in the opening match, the Blackpool Combat Club continued their reign of terror in ECW as they defeated Bandito and the Lucha Brothers in what was a pretty good match. A lot of offense, a lot of movement in the match, with Wheeler Yuta getting the pin with the seatbelt on Rey Fenix. He got the loss last week during their match, and then Swerve Strickland in a triple threat match with Big Bill and Trent Beretta earned himself an international title shot, coming up soon. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. Darby Allin and Orange Cassidy defeated the Gates of Agony, 2/3 of the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Champion. And as Mogul affiliates were coming out to lay in more damage after the match, we saw the return of Sting, as Sting came back to help the international champion Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin fend off the Mogul affiliates Mogul Embassy attack. In her first TBS title defense against since winning the belt from Jade Cargill. Chris Statlander defeated Nyla Rose. Now, some people were critical of this match due to the fact that these two have faced each other a lot, including they've had some battles over the when Nyla Rose was the AEW Women's World Champion. Some people are saying that, and they were saying that, both of them being rusty matches. But from what I saw of the match, it actually looked pretty good. It looked pretty solid. A lot of back and forth, a lot of some real good competition there. I think it was a good match, great match for Statlander, coming back from her injury, and in the main event, saw Adam Cole and Dr. Britt Baker defeat Chris Jericho, Saraya in a mixed tag match. So in some other AEW related news, Tony Khan also announced on last night's Dynamite that some of the final details of AEW's Collision, their latest wrestling show, 2-hour wrestling show on Saturday nights, will be debuting 2 weeks from this Saturday on June 17th. I believe it's going to be on TNT, I think. He also announced that CM Punk will be making his return to AEW on that night. There's also been some talk that Miro will probably be featured on there too. We haven't seen Miro in a while. And there's been some talk that Lana might also be coming back, CJ Perry, who I believe is Miro's real-life wife, as I recall. So we might be seeing some of that. And I believe that one of the other matches announced for Collision as well might be the international title match between Orange Cassidy and Swerve Strickland. So let me just double check that real quick here, if that is really the case. Oh, all they're saying here is CM Punk will be there. So, anyways, in other, of course, AEW news, this Friday's Rampage will be Championship Friday. Among the matches scheduled, 4 matches are scheduled, all title matches. El Hijo del Vikingo will be defending the AAA Mega title in a 3-way match against La Facción Inconables Dralistico and Commander. Katsuhiro Shibata will be defending the Ring of Honor Pure title against Lee Moriarty on this Friday. Willow Nightingale, coming off of her big win in New Japan, will be defending the Strong Women's title, the newly established Strong Women's title, against Emi Sakura. And in another NJPW match, Zack Sabre Jr. will be defending the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Television title against Action Andretti. Now, of course, this is all leading up into the Forbidden Door event coming up next month. So that will be, of course, going on. And, of course, they did recently announce the Owen Hart tournament as well. So now let's get into some NWA news. As we told you that the Crockett Cup will be happening this weekend, June 3rd and 4th, from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And it's been kind of cool because I've been watching, of course, the NWA Power and USA. It's been kind of cool to hear Bob Cottle's voice. At 92 years old, they brought him in to do some of the to do some of the promos for the show, which has been very cool to listen to. He's 92 and he still will on occasion come in to help them out. So outside, of course, aside from the tournament itself, one of the matches signed for Saturday, of course, will be the last chance 4-way tag team match for the final spot in the for the 24th and final spot in the Crockett Cup tournament, which will feature the duo of the Outrunners of Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. Some of you may have seen them on AEW before they canceled Elevation and Dark. The Miserably Faithful, who are now Gags the Gimp and Sal the Pal. Daisy Kill and Talos, who were recently, put out of the tournament initially, but they'll be allowed to try to get into it here. And then Eric Jackson and Jeremiah Plunkett, led by Denny Deals. There's going to be a hardcore team war match on Saturday where the NWA Women's World Tag Champions, Maddie and Mr. Kate, known as M95, be teaming with La Rosa Negra and Samantha Starr, who they'll have, of course, Baby Doll, Samantha Starr's mother, in their corner. Taking on all 4 members of Pretty Empowered of Ella Envy, Kenzie Page, Kylie Page, and Roxy. And then EC3 will be defending the National Heavyweight Championship against Throwbilly Silas, who will have Polio Del Mar in her corner. That's on day 1, of course, and then, as I said, outside of the tournament, aside from, of course, the tournament matches, on day 2, on Sunday, the matches include Camille will be defending the World Women's title against Natalia Markova. There'll be a 6-man scramble match for the number 1 contendership to Kerry Morton's World Junior Heavyweight title. And Kenzie Page will be defending the World Women's Television title at the event as well. So that's all going on the NWA side of it. So anyways, that's all I got for the wrestling wrap-up. So now, go ahead and take a look, with today being the 1st of June, 2023. Take a look back now at this day in Nietzsche history. History! All right. So the first up, we're going to head back 25 years ago today. As on this date, 25 years ago today, the WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, Illinois. Now, mind you, this was the day after the 22nd In Your House pay-per-view. They were coming off of that event, in which, of course, Stone Cold had retained the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and The Rock had retained the Intercontinental Championship. The main event for the night saw Kane defeat The Undertaker in a number 1 contendership match for who would next face Austin for the WWF Championship. Also, they had some King of the Ring qualifiers that night, in which Mark Henry defeated Terry Funk. Jeff Jarrett defeated Farouk. Mark Marrow defeated Steve Blackman, coming off of his Loser Leaves Town match with Sable. And to open up the night in a 6-man tag team Chicago street fight ended in a no contest, in which Darren Drozdoff and LOD 2000, just LOD, or Road Warriors, Animal and Hawk, defeated the Disciples of Apocalypse members 8 Ball, Chains, and Skull. So that happened 25 years ago from the Rosemont Horizon, which the WWF would hold its Monday Night Raw event. Now we move ahead to 2013. As on this day in 2013, First off, there's actually a couple of things. On this date in 2013, which was 10 years ago today, the 15th edition of Marvel's Army Air Force exchange system would be published on this date. There was no price for it. It's 32 pages. Story featured Iron Man, a story called Thing Thing Doom, written by William Harms, penciled by Tom Grummett, with Corey Hensher doing the inking, Joe Sabino doing the lettering, and coloring by Chris Sotomayor. So, on this date, 10 years ago today, 15th edition of Marvel's Army Air Force exchange system was published. And 2013 is just so nice that we're gonna hit it twice. As on this date in 2013, the network known as the Hub would be renamed Hub Network. Now this would eventually become Discovery. It's presently Discovery Family, but the Hub would be renamed Hub Network. So with that, guys, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. As we so just to remind everybody, of course, we'll be back here tomorrow night, where I will have Terry from Mighty Geek Studios will be my co-host, as we will be looking back to October 1939, covering comics that went on sale at that point. Hey, Metal. Thanks for coming in. You're a little late, of course. I'm about to end the show. But you can always catch the replay if you want to go back and catch some of what we talked about. And I thank you for the like and the share. I do keep these up for the replays. So come in just in time to leave a like. I'll rewind later. All right. Thanks, man. Yeah, so tomorrow night I'll have Terry from Mighty Geek Studios in with me as we'll be looking at comics that went on sale in October 1939 from Quality Comics. We'll, of course, be reading such features as Espionage featuring Black Ace, let's see. Invisible Hood from Smash Comic 5. We'll be looking, of course, at the Clock feature. And, of course, I'll be introducing you guys to Dollman character. So, with that, I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.